What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. I promise the reason I haven't been here, it hasn't been because I've been crying about Nicolas Zaniolo going to Aston Villa. That's not the reason. I promise it's not the reason. Stick with us, we'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today, it is Wednesday, August 16th, 2023. Of course, I got your latest rundown of all things Juventus, all the news you care about each and every single day. Before we do anything though, do me a solid favor, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. If you want, you can also obviously follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter. Of course, you can follow Bianconeri Zone on that Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff as well. Make sure you do that right now. All right, without any further ado, let's get in to this thing. First off, the news that we have here is Samuel Elling Jr. and the situation going on with him. El Bianconero has reported that Elling Jr., he played as a Mezzala again. A new role Allegri believes will suit him very well. Suit, not sweet, even though it says sweet. Suit him very well. I'm not going to give commentary on this. I'm at a loss for words at this point while we keep continuing to move people out of position, play them out of position instead of utilizing them to their strengths. If it works out, it works out. I said I'm not going to say a lot, and then I say this. That's it. I'm not soapboxing today. I'm not soapboxing when it comes to players being played out of position. Let's continue on, though, and talk about players that are trying to play out of position. When I say that, I mean play out of position at Juventus, play somewhere else, maybe or maybe not. When it comes to two young players, Mirko De Natale is reporting that several Serie A clubs are interested in Moretti and Nicolosi Caviglia. The management will make a decision at the end of the transfer window. As of now, the possibility of both staying at Juventus cannot be ruled out. So, I mean, obviously for me, Nicolosi, I'm a little bit less akin to as it stands right now. I'd like to see him get more opportunities down the line. But when it comes to Moretti, I'd still would like to see him play one more season at Juventus and see what he can really do there. Though, if he's going to go on loan, I get he's going to get on loan. And hopefully he will get a lot of good, useful playing time and won't become another lost piece of Juventus. Let's move forward. Talk about a lost piece that's already been a lost piece for Juve. I mean, let's just be honest. This player was not Juve quality when he did play for the club under Andrea Pirlo. But Mirko De Natale is giving an update about the Frobozza situation, saying he's currently being evaluated. The player will go on loan to the Serie B. The fullback is attracting interest from Bari, Palermo, and a few other Serie B clubs have also inquired about him. So you can land at one of those spots. If for some reason you're a fan of any of those other teams as a secondary team, maybe that's be something to keep an eye on. Otherwise, I'm not going to be. I don't want to be rude, but we don't really care, right? Let's continue on and get to the news of the day. Real quick, I don't have a graphic from it, but I think everybody knew it's done deal. It's happened or it was happening. Rovella to Lazio, confirmed on a free loan with the I believe it's obligation or option to buy. Either way, obligation to probably buy him. I'm frustrated about it. I'm disappointed, obviously, but it is what it is. Also, one man who also surprisingly was actually disappointed in this is Max Allegri. Comments from Giacomo Scutiero is reporting that contrary to the popular belief about the young stars, Allegri did not actually push for Rovella's transfer. In fact, it seems he was quite displeased with Juventus's decision on the matter. So this completely contradicts everything that I thought about when it comes to Max Allegri. I've always viewed him as a guy who did not really care, want to utilize a lot of youngsters. He likes the older men, that's a weird way to say that, the older players, and to continue using them and to support them throughout these roles. This is interesting to me that he actually wanted to keep Rovella. So I will go a little bit easier on Allegri if that's a situation where this is actually a Giuntoli thing that he actually made the decision to do this. Again, the only reasoning that makes sense to me is if you think that he does have serious health issues and injury issues, that he's not going to return and not going to come back and not get back into proper form. Because what I did see from him, especially playing in some of the friendlies, especially last season, excited me. I wanted to see more Nicolo Rovella with Juventus, and it's kind of crushing to see him leave. And if he has a great career, which I hope he does for his own sake, not for Lazio's sake, but for himself, because I like the player and I'd like to see him do well, maybe for the Italian national team. I'm going to be a bit heartbroken, I'll be honest. And I know I talked about obviously my heartbreak when it comes to Zaniolo. I know I'm crushed about it. It is what it is. All right. Other youth players, though, that may actually get their chance to shine for Juventus, and that is, of course, we were talking about Huijsen and Yildiz. Giovanni Albanese has an update on their situation, saying that Juventus has decided to permanently include Huijsen and Yildiz in the first team, while also ensuring significant game time through the next gen. So they get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and hopefully everything will be good for them. They will train at Catanassa with Allegri and will be decided on a case-by-case basis whether to keep them in the first team with the possibility of getting appearances or send them to play with the U23. I think that's the best way, the most balanced way for them to continue getting playing time, especially if they're there with the first team, but then you're deciding, hey, you got to let the stars get their run and get their playing time. But we'd like to see you maybe get some minutes here or there against a better competition. So it's something interesting to keep an eye on. These players obviously are getting a lot of praise and a lot of tout here lately playing for Juventus. Now we go into the Mercado and what's happening there. Obviously, we've sold a lot of players, haven't had much of anything when it comes to incoming players. I've argued that my personal opinion is that this Juventus squad somehow is weaker than the Juventus squad we had last season, and that doesn't give me, it gives me a lot of pause, doesn't give me a lot of hopes when it comes to Juventus and how they will perform throughout the season, though. I'm not going to try to be a shill when it comes to this, because that's not how I operate. But when I'm watching these games, I'm seeing something that I have not seen from Juventus over the last couple of years. And I don't know if it's fool's gold or not. So we'll see if it's fool's gold. I want to see how the season starts and how they come out and compete against these other teams in Serie A. All right, let's get into it. The first one up is obviously with these the sales of Rovella and Zaccaria. That opens up Juventus to bring in another player. The main target remains that of Diarra, who we've talked about in the last few days or so. Sky Sport reports that's the main target that Juventus will be going after. Going off of that, though, we also have another player who is definitely on Juventus's radar, and Inter seem to have no deal, not happening, and that is that of Samardzic. He has been the target of Giuntoli since his days at Napoli, and the advantageous conditions that Inter managed to secure an initial loan of 5 million euros plus 15 million euros for the obligation plus 2 and 3 million euros in bonuses could be the key for Juventus signing him. Tutor Sports reporting this. Additionally, just as Fabian was involved in negotiations with Inter, now Nicolucci Cavilla could be included. So obviously we talked about those players getting sent out. This could be a situation where you use that player to sign Samardzic if that's what Juventus wants to do. And obviously, the other big news, the other big time individual we're talking about when it comes to Juventus signing players, and this is where they're going. I want to try not to rant, because I know I mentioned the Zaniolo stuff earlier and how I'm displeased at how Juventus at least didn't knock on the door when it came to that. But they're going to knock on the door at Sassuolo for this. For Berardi, for Bombardi, we've had this conversation on the channel for years now. For the last couple of years, I've had this conversation about not really wanting to see Berardi come to Juventus. Those days are past. Those days are gone. If you want to get him, you get him a few seasons ago, not now. But it looks like Juventus potentially are going to try to do this. Repubblica is reporting that Juventus and Sassuolo are still far from reaching an agreement for Berardi. Juventus values him at around 20 million euros, while Sassuolo is looking to receive 10 million euros more, 25 million euros plus 5 million euros in bonuses. Today, the two clubs are expected to try to find a solution. So obviously we'll be on high alert to see if this is what's going to come to fruition, and that's the player that Juventus is going to back, and that's the player that Juventus is going to hope for the future of the club and future of winning Serie A is going to be on the back of Berardi. That's where the club is right now. I understand financial situations, but I do not understand. I just don't understand the decision-making process right now. I thought, hiring Giuntoli would be something that would excite me, something that would get me, I would have a lot of faith in him. But right now, all I have are question marks. Everything that I'm feeling currently when it comes to some of the decision-making in the Mercado, it's just red flag after confusing. I don't know. Is he still working? Is the deal that he's still working for Napoli? Is that what's happening? Is he trying to help? I don't know. But this is the situation as it unfolds for Juventus. I would love to be proven wrong. Hopefully I look like an idiot by the midway through the season. I'm like, okay, he knows what he was doing. Maybe this is what Allegri needs. Maybe he needs players that don't excite me, and that's what's going to work in his system. I don't know. And we finished the news off today with an important news story, obviously going the drama drama and situation that continues to not get resolved when it comes to Leonardo Bonucci and his time at Juventus. We open that up to the very first news comment made by Giacomo, the player of AIC, or the president of AIC, not player. Bonucci is facing serious professional harm, he says, not being with the squad, enduring unlawful treatment, and his dignity is being trampled upon. Juventus must reinstate him to the squad immediately, making a call to Juve saying it's time to let him play and be a part of the club. I have opinions on this. I have a lot of opinions on this. So we follow this up, though. Juventus did have a comment following this regarding the Bonucci situation. Juventus' statement is, we strongly reaffirm the correctness of its action toward all registered players, fully recognizing and guaranteeing all the rights provided by the collective agreement of the category. This is going to kind of go against what probably a lot of people think and a lot of people agree with. You know how I feel when it comes to Juventus, when it comes to players that I think have a storied history at the club. Not without drama, not without a lot of issues with Leonardo Bonucci. And I know a lot of people still have a lot of hatred and a lot of angst against Leonardo Bonucci, and I get it. I absolutely get it. I think, though, that the club, by doing the way that they've kind of enacted this, and also obviously Leonardo Bonucci, but not really backing down, they've created a bleep storm that is unnecessary, and it's a bad news story. It's a bad look for both player and club at this point. My main issue with this is, regardless of what you think of him, Leonardo Bonucci is somewhat of a Italian legend when it comes to, not a legend. Okay, legend's a little bit harsh, or a little bit too, I'm giving him too much glory when I say that. He's an Italian, I mean, he's a centerpiece of winning the Euro in 2020. That's massive. I can't underscore that. Obviously, the goal that he scored during the process that kept Italy in it, I think that's something to look at. I understand this is Italy. This is not Juventus. But when it comes to Juventus, he's been a part of some of a great run. He's been a part of some important Juventus teams in the past, and playing with, obviously Chiellini, I feel like lifted him up. But the difficult part for me is to see Juventus and the player have this kind of bad relationship at the end, really trying to do this. And like, to me personally, I don't know if it's, with everything going on with the club, with Juventus, I understand you want to get him out. He has one more year left. My personal opinion was just like kind of let him finish it out for his own like personal. And I understand that's not what we're here for. In almost any other situation, I would be yelling and screaming about get this player out of here, get him out, I'm done with him. And I know a lot of people surely feel this way. But to me, it's kind of he has done enough. He ain't a Quadrado. He ain't a lot of these players that you can push out, that you have pushed out, or that really I feel like should have been pushed out, and that would get pushed out. I understand it's time to end it, but like the contract, it being Bonucci, it being a player who has had some important moments for this club, I feel like there's a way you could do this to make it look better and make it better in all parties. I think Alejandro put it on Twitter. An important piece is basically saying there's no chance of Bonucci, probably getting a job with the club after this. That's fine. I agree. Probably not. But at the same time, I feel like there's a better way this could have been handled. And I wish this could have been handled better behind closed doors between player and club, where that way they can come to a decision and say, hey, I guess they came to a decision and neither one is willing to back down. A little bit frustrating, I feel like, though. The problem is when you have a contract, I guess technically you're supposed to honor contracts. I don't know. It just kind of goes against a lot of the things that I've ranted and yelled and screamed about when it comes to players that are being useless at Juventus. But usually you can find a resolution there. We'll see what happens. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I get the negativity. I get why people dislike Bonucci. But to me, there's also a lot of history and a lot of somewhat positives that can be gleaned a little bit when it comes to the player. And I just hate to see it end this way. That's the only way I can really say how I feel. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. I'm sure a lot of you completely disagree with how I feel. You're probably saying, get him the bleep out of here. Let's get done with it. Let me know all that in the comment section down below. Tell me why I'm an idiot in this situation. If you haven't already, do me a solid favor. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. As I said, you can follow me at Justin Silver on Twitter. You can follow Bianconeri Zone at Bianconeri Zone, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri. Say hello to your old lady for me.